Good morning, traders, and welcome to a Trading Waves live trading room where we'll be looking at the setups and doing the trade management on the trades that are running. All right, just take note that Victor is not available this morning, so I'm going to be your host for this live trading room. And again, I'll see you guys later for the session of the cryptos and commodities later. All right, so let's start with the pairs, the trade setups that we have. Just gonna go on the website. I want to confirm the trade setup that we have there. I know Euro US dollar is one of them. So I believe that my colleague did mention to you guys how we're going to manage this trade Euro US dollar yesterday. Just a moment. I want to open the trade setups here. All right, so let's start with Euro US dollar. So the trade is was triggered yesterday, and we are just in a small profit here. So just like I've done the updates. My expectation is that at some point around here, Euro US dollar should give us this pullback here for wave two. Okay, so what might happen here is this. Let's just measure the Fibonacci's so that you can see how you're going to manage Euro US dollar the way I prefer it. Remember that wave one in red, it can still extend. This can still trade higher like this here. This is just and me, I'm just giving you guys an observation that remember at some point we should get this deeper pullback here in wave two. Then if that does happen here, this trade here might take you out. But if you want to manage it, this is how you're going to manage it. Okay. So I'm just projecting that wave one in red is going to come around there because I'm looking at this here as a wave 1, 2, 3, wave 3 here, and this here as a wave 4. So normally wave 1, wave 5 in this case here will end around this area of 61.8 to 74.6. So if it does come here and you see that the market is reversing, I would suggest that you quickly move your stop loss into a break even so that if they give us this correction here in wave 2, then we can still get a re-entry here for this move. Other than that, this can still be an extended fifth wave to only to find out that it comes around that area. That is still very acceptable, right? So but if it does come here and you're seeing that the market is for whatever reason is reversing, then you might just want to lift your stop loss to a break even so that if they give us this wave twin red, then they can stop you in a break even, and then we'll look for a re-entry for a move to the upside here. So there's nothing that other than that I'm looking at on a Euro US dollar other than buying this pair here. So there's already a position that is running here from the blue box. So I believe that since I've been preaching this year that if you see a blue box, then you must look for entries. So you guys should already be having a position that is running here, that is running from the blue box. And if you've got that position, you should be considering to run that trade risk-free now, and you should expect that you get this deeper correction and then a move to the upside. All right, so the other trade that we have here will be Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand did not play out as anticipated. We are in a small profit as we speak, but this trade here, I will just consider to, where's Euro New Zealand? Let me just see here. Just make this one visible in the 1 hourly. Right, so it missed the stop loss. Anyway, it was too far from the stop loss, but this was my invalidation level here on Euro New Zealand. I was not expecting it to come and trade here. It did come as close as like 99%. You know that wave 2 can go as far as 99% as long as it won't touch the start of wave 1, because I'm looking at this year as a wave 1 and this year as an expanding Fed corrective structure. So the wave 3 that we're looking for might be already starting here on Euro New Zealand. Okay, so if you are still in this trade here, I would suggest that instead of having this stop loss around here, please bring the stop loss at this high here. So if this wave count is correct, we should not see Euro New Zealand to come and trade here. If it does, then it will invalidate this whole wave count here that we are seeing. So I suggest that you lower your stop loss to around this area here so that even if they hit you, If you had reached 2% or 1% of your account, then they should at least hit you the half of the percent here. But my expectation is that we have this as a wave 1, wave 2 here, and we should start to see this move to a downside for a wave 3, then 4, and a wave 5 here. So you can see that we are in this wave 3 of the minute degree here. So we should start to see Euro New Zealand trading higher here. So I'll show you something that this is just a correlation that I normally use. New Zealand US dollar. Let me quickly go on New Zealand US dollar. I want to show you something. USD. Okay, so this is the recent update that I have on a New Zealand US dollar. I'm still expecting that New Zealand US dollar is going to come and trade a lower into the blue box. Looking at this year as a three-wave structure like this year, as a W, this year as a three-wave structure for an X, and having this 1, 2, 3 with structure as a Y to complete that minute degree here. Then after that, I'll be expecting this one to trade lower into the blue box. If this does happen, then Euro New Zealand might still give us one more leg to the upside. Only if this NZD USD is going to play out this structure here. So you must still get one more leg to the upside. I'm just using a correlation. It doesn't have to. Structure says they must trade lower, but this is just something that you need to observe here. So we're on Euro New Zealand. So let's just check the indicator here on Euro New Zealand and see what does it tell us so far. Just look at it on a 4-hourly. Right, so on a 4-hourly, the RSI is starting to trade below the 50 mark here, and this is exactly what we need for this momentum to the downside to keep on trading lower. We need this here to stay above this below this 50 mark here, even though that we've got the stock is just resetted at the bottom. But remember, this stock here can just stay around this area here while we are getting this move to the downside here. But in this case here, if it's here, it might reset at the top here. As long as this RSI is going to stay below the 50 mark here, then we should see this move trading lower here. You'll notice that we have the similar move that is taking place on the pound New Zealand. So this might still continue and trade lower like this here. Anyway, you've just limited the risk there on Euro New Zealand. So let's just hold on onto this trade here for this move to the downside here. That will be a wave 3 in the minute degree. So there's no need. Let me see here on a 1-hourly, but I'm happy with the indicator on a 4-hourly. So this should continue trading lower here on 1-hourly as well. So the RSI is still trading below the 50 mark here as well. So we want this one just to give us, we need, and I would love to see at least an impulsive move there. If it does get the impulsive move here and we have this here as a correction, then we look to add a position here for more move to the downside. First target will be around this area here. Then after this year, we'll see how they react, because there's always still a possibility that you might still get this bigger structure here like this, and then you get a move to the downside. So we have to be very careful when they get around this area here for a bounce. Right, let me just go back on the Euro US dollar. Did not look at the indicator there. Let me check the indicator on a 4-hourly here. RSI is well trading above the 50 mark here. Should have this line here. We are trading well above the 50 mark there on RSI. Let's make that one be 50. Then we'll lock it. Right, so you can see that we're just trading well above the 50 mark there on the RSI. So we should expect to see Euro US dollar trading higher. If it does come and trade here and it don't get any correction here on Euro USD for this wave 2, expect that Euro USD can still trade as far as around 122 before we can get that deeper pullback. If we get this move here, this will still be very acceptable. Hence, we've giving out that trade, because there is a possibility that this might still trade as high as this around this area here. And if it does that, it will be more of like confirming that we are going to get this move here. Remember that the only confirmation to confirm that we are on a wave 5 here is only when we start to break this high here. We break this higher, then this will be a confirmation. Then we can even consider buying any pullback in a form of a 3 or 7 or 11 swing for this move to the upside here. Right, let me look at the next one. I think we've got pound AUD. Pound AUD. Pound AUD, the expectation is that we see this one to still continue to trade lower. This is what we are looking at here. We're looking at this here. It has ended this wave 2 here, and we've got this move here as a leading diagonal, wave 1 in a minor degree, and had this here the 3-wave structure for a wave 2, and now we should be trading lower for wave 3. Hence, we've got that trade setup that was posted. Let me just make sure it's visible here on a 1 hourly. Apologies for this, guys. I work with these charts a lot, so that's why you'd see sometimes they are not visible on the lower time frames. Right, so we're expecting that we still see this pound AUD trading lower here. For the target will be around this area here. This is where we're expecting that we can have this wave 3 here. But we've always have got an alternative view here, so you need to be careful when this gets around this area here, because we can still have a bounce here. So if we can break this one, depending how we break it here, and then get this correction, this will be a confirmation that we are getting this move to the downside here. For now, just know that we can still have this as a 3 waves. This is a single correction. This here can still have, if it does this year, we get a 3-wave structure. Just expect that it might still bounce and come around here before we can get this move to the downside. But for now, it's look like it's coming impassively, and that will be a good indication. If it breaks here, you get a corrective structure. If you're not in this trade, you can consider to look for an entry there. Remember, this is a wave 3, possible that it might extend. This is just a 161.8, so possible that you might get this here and it continues to extend. This will be a minute degree in a lower degree here. Let me just look at the indicator on a 4 hourly. Right, so we're trading well below the 50 mark there on the RSI, and you can see that we were just coming to from resetting here on the stock. This should continue to trade lower. As long as this RSI is going to stay below here, we should continue to see this one trading lower here. On a 1 hourly, just for the sake of looking at that, 4 hourly for me, I'm happy with the indicator, so we should still see this one trading lower here. We are well below the 50 mark here, so even if this one does come and retest here, as long as it's going to stay below here and having the stock resetting, we should still see this one trading lower here. I don't see any 3 waves at the moment, so this still looks like an impulsive move, so we should continue to see this move trading lower. Right, so I'm not sure there what you mean there, Chima, by saying that you had the TP on a euro US dollar. Right, so let's look at the pairs that are interesting here. That will be including the dollar index, similar to what is happening to the euro US dollar. So if euro dollar index, you should have a position around this area here at the blue box. So now we are having this move here. This looks like a 5-wave structure here. I'm still expecting this one to come and trade lower here, inverse of what is happening on a euro US dollar. And then we should see this pullback in wave 2, and then we should continue with this one to trade lower. But just like euro US dollar, this can still come and trade lower and go as far as this year before we can see this deeper correction in wave 2 here. Right, so I'm just looking at the pairs now that have got a potential for a setup, that have got the blue boxes. USD JPY, this is one of the pairs that have got a recent update. So I'm looking at this one here. When they get around this area here of a blue box, I'll be looking for a move to the upside here. This is just, we're looking at this here as an only the correction that we needed, and now we are getting this move to the downside. When they get around this area here of the blue box, you don't have to ask any questions. I will be looking for this move to the upside here. So it's a clear structure. Those of you remember, we've looked at this structure from all the way down here. So I don't see why it should not respect this analysis yet, because it's been respecting all this analysis for the past 3 months. So we should expect to get some reaction around the blue box. At least here, we should get at least a 3-wave bounce. Alternatively, we get this move in a 5-wave. If we get a 3-wave bounce, then that will mean it will be giving us a bigger corrective structure, and but eventually we should get that move to the upside. But for now, I'll be looking for buying these dips here in the extreme area here in the blue box. Right, let's move forward. Should be looking at AUDSD and NZDUSD. Yes, that's very possible today. Those who were in attendance yesterday, they will remember very well that we were looking at this here on a US dollar JPY, that we get at least a structure like this. When they were here around here, we're expecting that we get this here as our X, but the market looked like it's not giving us that. But it's good that we keep it in mind that there's still that possibility that we get this here as an expanding flat corrective structure here before we get these 3 waves move to the downside and then a move higher. If it does that, that will be a significant corrective structure here. That will be a very significant corrective structure. Then we can look for this move before a move to the upside. But for now, I'm just going to respond to what the market is giving me, giving this here as a possible correction. If it trades lower here, we look for a buy. But if it trades higher here, not recommended, but we can look for a sell here. Just know that you would be trading against the trend. If it does give us this here, then we can trade for this move here. So you'll notice that I'm trying by all means now that I don't put the blue boxes against the trend. I'm trying by all means that the blue boxes are going to be in a direction of a trend now, because sometimes they get to confuse the guys here. Right, so AUD US dollar, we are still looking at this one. I would still love to see this one trading lower into the blue box. Okay, so you'll remember very well that we've been looking at this year as a 3-wave structure when they were here, and looking at this year as a possible expanding flat corrective structure here. We were expecting that this was a W, and this is an X here, and we're expecting for this move to the downside here. But they were coming down very correctively here, so hence we are seeing that we are getting one more leg. So now we are looking at this year as a 5-wave structure here, A here, and this year as a 3-wave structure for a wave B, then we should get this move to the downside here. So those of you who are familiar with trading WXY like a pro, they will know that somewhere here, we should get this move to the downside here. Hence I've said that I'm not going to put this here, but we can just have a look at it. I don't want to put the blue boxes against the main trend here. So somewhere here, we should get a move around this area here, 1561.8 area here. Let's just let me make this here. We don't want that. 783.2. Okay, just for now, let's have this here around this area here. We have this here as a W. This did bounce around this area. This bounce was very expected here. This is a 61.8 61.8 to 74.8 area here. So this bounce was very expected. Let me just put it so that you guys can see what I'm talking about here. So this bounce was very expected. You can see that we bounced around this area of 61.8 and 74.6, even though we traded below it. So this was very expected that we get this bounce here. Now, if we get this one around this area of 50 and 61.8 area, let's make here, let's see. This is a blue box. I'm just want to see the confluence here of the blue box. So the blue box should be around this area here. Right, so the confluence there of that blue box will only come at 61.8. So we should still continue to see this one trading higher. At least if it comes around here, then you can attempt to take this move to the downside here. Remember what I'm saying? It's not advisable, but this one here can still come and trade here, and it can even come and trade inside the blue box. Remember here we've got a 78-point area, and it's still very welcome that it can trade up to like 78-point area here. So there is a confluence of the blue box and 61.8 to 78-point area here. If it does take this trade here, your stop loss should be at this area here. Then you should expect for this move here. It will quickly go into the blue box. Then after that, we should expect to see a move higher. The expectation here would be that we get 5-wave structure like this here, because it will be our C move that we are waiting for here. Right, so it will be similar structure to New Zealand. Yes, Hymano, it will be very still available, valid if it goes to 78.6, as long as it won't break this high here of 0.784. If it doesn't break this high here, this move to the downside will still be very valid that we get it here. New Zealand US dollar will be the same as AUD USD. Okay, so we are still looking at this one here. There's a 3-wave structure. So initially, we want this to trade this one if it gets into the blue box. Had it gone into the blue box when we were around here, we would have traded this one higher, but it missed the blue box. And now we're looking at this here, this last part here as a 3-wave structure here, as a W. And look at this structure here in the middle. We are looking at this here as a W. This 3-wave structure here is an X, and we are having this 3-wave structure here as our Y. That should complete this X here. Then after that, we should see a move to the downside. That move to the downside, my expectation would be that it's going to be in 3 waves. Why am I showing you this here? Is because this is the move that I don't want you guys to miss. When it gets into the blue box, we'll be looking for that move to the upside. But just like AUD this can still be tradable. For the old members that will know how to trade WXY like a pro, let's just measure here. So somewhere around this area here, we should be able to see a reaction here around this area here. We should see a move to the downside here. Let me just measure the blue box here. The blue box would be around this area here. Just hold for me, guys. Right, thought about that, guys. So I'm looking at this here, this blue box. This is a WXY blue box. So we're expecting that this might come and trade as high as around this area here. You can see that we've got the confluence here, just like AUDS dollar. This confluence will be coming in the area of 50 and 60 and 50 and 61.8 here. So we should expect to see a reaction to the lower side here on NZDSD for this move to the downside here. Right, so Tendai, can that one not be an 11 swing correction? Are you referring to NZD Tendai? Right, so I think that you are looking at it here as a 3-wave structure here, as our W, an X here, and a Y, and an X here, and a Z. You can still look at it this way. It's still very acceptable, but I was just looking at this here as an expanding flat corrective structure here with this flat here, and this here as a zigzag here. So it's still very possible. Either way, the bias will still be the same. If you label it as a 11 swing sequence, still very acceptable. I just look at it as this here, as a 3-wave structure like this here, and we'll be expecting for this move to the downside here. Remember, these move to the downside, guys, are not recommended. The one that we're looking for is for this bigger blue box here, because we should get a very impulsive move to the upside after we trade in this blue box here. All right, let's look at New Zealand. There's no trade setup here. Let's look at Euro Chief or Euro Audi first. Let's start with Euro Audi. So most of the charts that I'll scan here, guys, are the one that with the blue boxes. Remember, the blue boxes are presenting trading opportunities. Why is the short-term move not recommended? We want to trade with the trend Chima. If you want to trade that move to the downside, I'm not sure how experienced you are when it comes to trading WXY like a pro. So the guys that have been here with us, they know how to trade that one. They can trade it. It's very allowed that they trade it. But remember, you want to trade in a direction of a trend, and the trend in that case is to the upside here. Right, so Euro Audi, I was expecting this one to come into the blue box here. Look like we've missed the blue box with a few points, and this might start to go to the downside there. But just like I've done this year, I'm still looking at this at least one more leg to the upside, especially if AUD US dollar is going to give that one more leg to the downside, then Euro Audi will definitely push to the upside to come around into this blue box here and a move to the upside, and a move to the downside here. So I'm looking at this here as a wave 1, 2 here, and this 3 here. And this, if it does come and trade here, this can still does qualify as an ending diagonal wave C. Let me just draw that one neatly here. This will definitely does qualify as an ending diagonal wave C if we have this one trading at the area of wave 1 here. This can still very possible if we have this one here. For now, it's still not, it's not yet in the territory of wave 1. It's still not yet here, but it looks like it's going to come here. So we can still, this still does qualify as an ending diagonal, and we should see at least a move higher here. Then after that, we can trade this one to the downside here. For whatever reason, if it continues to trade lower here, we remember the ending diagonal, we're not expecting it to come and trade here. If it does come and trade in this wave 2, then we will conclude that this here ended wave 5 here, and we are starting to get a move to the downside. So we should be only be able to start to look for selling opportunities once it gets it breaks this low here. Then we will start to look for a move to the downside. But for now, we are still looking for this one more leg up here. Then we can look to do an execution there of a trade with our stop loss above that blue box there. Okay, so you can use that name there on Slack, then you should definitely find me. Right, so let's just observe how does Euro Audi unfold here. If it remember, if it gets around this area here, just go back here, Euro Audi came out there by mistake. Remember, if it gets around this area here, then we can only start to look for a move to the downside here. But what is still here, this can still come and trade, even come here and then give us this move. Then after it, we'll be expecting for a move to the downside here. Let's look at the next one. If you've got any charts that you're looking at, guys, please feel free that you can share them, then we can look at them. Eurochief was one of those that we were expecting for a move to the upside here. So Eurochief, I'm expecting that we get a move to the upside here. So I'm still looking at this one here as a 1, 2. This is a wave 3 this year as a wave 4. Still expecting at least one more leg to the downside. Then after that, we should see this one trading higher to complete the sequence of wave 5 here. Okay, you can see that this is a wave 4 that is expected to come around this area here. Then after that, we should see a move to the upside. If you've taken this move here, this year, you should feel free, you should hold this trade here, even if it does give you this one more leg, because your stop loss should be beyond 1.68 area. So you should see Eurochief at least one more leg to the downside like this year, and then after that, we should see a move higher. Just want to see something here. Okay, so what you might be having here, if it gives you that one more leg to the downside, you might be having, you can see that the RSI here is already trading higher. This one here might still give you this one more leg, and this would be a divergence, and this would be another confirmation that we trade higher. For now, we don't have any divergence yet, meaning that this might still give us one more leg to the downside, while this here stays above the 50 mark here and giving us this divergence, then we should see a move to the upside here. Okay, let's move you forward and let's see here if we've got any trades that are interesting, any pairs that are interesting. Okay, let's look at AUD CAD. AUD CAD, those of you recall, have been looking at this one for quite some time now to come and give us this leg to the downside here. So I will only love to see AUD CAD if it can come and trade lower here. If we am looking at this here as a three-wave structure possible, and then after that I'll be looking for this move to the downside. Then after here it comes around here, I'll be looking for this move to the upside here. This is a still significant move that can be traded to the downside, but just remember that these moves to the downside there, they are not guaranteed. I would love to lose money here, buying it here, other than losing money, so trying to get this move here, selling this move here. Even if it does get this move here, this might still come down slowly and correctively. Only when it gets around this blue box, and then we should see an aggressive move to the upside. XPT USD, those of you remember, we've had this trade here that was running. Think you guys should be out here because I did indicate that we were going to get this move here. After we got this here around this area, there was an indication that we should get this move here. So if you are interested in still selling, in buying this one here, then you should start. You should first see an impulsive move. Then after that, you can look for a flag, and then we can look for a move to the upside here. All right, guys. From my side, I think that's all the trades the pairs that I've had to share with you. I will just say let's look out for all the pairs that have got blue boxes, and let's look for the moves around that area here. Bitcoin, this should continue to trade higher. If you get any 3, 7, or 11 swing, then you should look for buying opportunities here. Those of you remember, there was a trade that was taken around this area here. This was another opportunity that presented, and it was shared on the chart. So you should still have been gone long here around this area here. If you're long, you keep on holding your long position, and you should be running those trade now risk free. Just looking at the indices, the cryptos. You should be running that trade risk-free here on Ethereum. If you recall very well, even when they got around Yates area here, we were still looking for the buys here. So this should continue to trade higher and come around this area here of 2600. Then after that, we should see a deeper pullback and then a move higher. But if you're holding that trade here, from here, you should be running this risk-free, including the trade around this area here. So you should be having your stop loss around this area here and should let that one continue to run here. This can still even extend higher, guys. Does not look like the way that we are approaching this level here does not look like we're gonna get this correction here. If it does for any reason, then we should continue to see this one trading higher. Just look for these internal waves here. So look like we've already got this here as a wave 1 and this is a wave 2. We should continue to see wave 3. Maybe it will come around this area here, wave 4 and wave 5. Only then we can start to look for this wave 4 in the minor degree. Okay, let's look at AUD in New Zealand. Someone is requesting that we look at AUD New Zealand. AUD New Zealand, I would love to see this one to trade lower into the blue box, and then after that, I'll look for a move to the upside here. So looking at this here as a corrective structure here, this as an impulsive move to the downside, A here, and this here as a wave B, and we're looking for a move to the downside for a wave C, and then after that, we can start to look for a move to the upside. But of course, we cannot rule out here a possible of a flat corrective structure like this here, only to find out that our wave B is here, then we get one more leg to the downside, and then a move higher. If it does that, this would be a very significant move. If we can get this here, it will be a very significant correction. Then we can only look to trade this one lower if it gets here into the blue box for this year as a wave 2 in a minute degree here. So you can always refer on the cross webinar. Why are we still looking for this one to trade higher here? There was still a possibility that this year, this wave 2 here, in a minor degree, this could still be a running flat corrective structure here, only to find out that wave 2 is here, and we are only starting the wave 3 in the red degree here. Just look at pound US dollar. Someone is requesting that we look at pound USD. Pound US dollar, I'm still expecting that one that we get a move to the downside here. I would still love to see this one trading lower into the blue box. As long as it still stays below the 140 mark here, I'm still expecting that we see this one trade lower. Those of you will recall, I think yesterday we looked at a pound US dollar. We were looking at this year as a possible A, B, C move here, but now I'm looking at this year as a possible three-wave structure here. This year as a three-wave structure, W and an X, and we should get a three-wave moves this side here for this move here. Three waves down here. This is the overall structure here. Then after that, we should see a move to the upside. So I'm still very convinced that we should see a move to the downside here. So this move here, we're looking at this one here as our wave A. Let me just zoom in there. We're looking at this one here. There's a 5-wave to the downside. So you had here a 3-wave moves. Even here, you're having 3 waves to the downside like this here, and this is very common. Here, what you're having is you are going to have this here as a 3-wave moves, but these 3-wave moves here is in the form of an ABC. This is a W, X, Y structure here. Here, we're getting an A, B, C structure. And this is very common. So having it, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and this here as a wave 5, wave A, and I'm looking at this here as a 3-wave structure, and this should continue to trade lower here for a C wave in the sub-micro degree. If this wave count is correct, guys, I don't expect this pound USD can come to this high here. It should not. So we should expect to see this one trading lower here from the current levels. Let's just apply the Fibonacci's here. Okay, so we're around the area here of 50 and 61.8. So somewhere around here, we should expect to see this one trading lower here. If for whatever reason you decide to trade this one here, your stop loss should be here. But I'm not expecting that it can come and trade. If it does, it will be very likely that it can even come and invite this 140 here. Then after that, we will start to look for a move to the upside. Just a quick one here to see here an equal legs of this here. Okay, this soon and very soon we should start to see a move to the downside there. This is the correction here. A, B, C. A here, 5 waves, 3 waves, and looking at this here as a wave C. So somewhere around here, we should get a reaction lower here. This is the only time I'd love to have a position here on a pound US dollar for a buy position here. Looking for this here. Okay, so I hope you covered that question there, Haimano, on AUD NZD. All right, guys, from my side, I'm done for this webinar here, and I'll see you guys later when we'll be looking at the cryptos, commodities, and the indices on the afternoon session. But for now, just watch out for those blue boxes. These are the areas where I'll only be interested to make a position. Cheers, guys, from my side. Have a good one. Bye-bye. The cryptos will be up shortly. Cheers. Bye.